as I transitioned into this as an adult, having more power, choosing that this was going to be my path and sticking with it no matter what happened to me, no matter what happened out there, I choose my own joy. I choose me.
Welcome to Carrie On, the show where we explore reinvention, self-discovery, and empowerment before, during, and after midlife. I'm your host, Carrie Murray. It's time to keep our head above the chaos and carry on. If hustle culture worked, you wouldn't be this tired. So many women have been taught to delay joy, to wait until everything is fixed, finished, or figured out. But what if joy doesn't wait? What if joy creates the moment? Today, we're calling out one of the biggest lies women are sold, that fun is earned and joy comes after the work is done. What if fun is the strategy? What if joy was the guide and not the reward? I'm joined by two women who boldly dismantling hustle culture and are proving that bliss, play, and pleasure are not weaknesses, they're power. If you're done grinding, ready to live, this episode is your permission to have fun. Let's have fun, damn it. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Amen. All right, preach.
Yes, exactly. I'm just going to start with how fun your names are. This is Monique and Moneeka.
Yay! Yes.
Tell us how you two met.
Hardly from that. So we both had podcasts where we were helping women invest in real estate. Somebody said, hey, do you know Moneeka Sawyer? Also strange spelling. And I was like, I don't. So you need to meet her. So we met and we started laughing right from the beginning.
It was crazy. We were recording, I think we were recording my show first. We couldn't even get started. I mean, we were just laughing so much.
Yeah.
I love it. And then what brought you to this movement? I'm going to call it a movement because joy has been something that we've been taught to suppress. It's been something that we have to earn, especially bliss. I love that word, bliss. When did you decide, you know what, we need to champion this, we need to get in front of this because this is bullshit. All of this hustle culture, go, go, go until you're exhausted and burnt out.
Yeah.
When were you guys were like, nah?
Well, shall I share?
Sure.
So it really is a movement. So that was an intentional thing.
I love that you called that immediately because it really...
That's our intention.
That's our intention, for sure.
But it didn't start that way. Before my 50th birthday, I like to say I'm forever 35. So it's before the 15th anniversary of my 35th birthday, I decided that I would do 50 days of fun. Somebody said, what do you want to do for your birthday? I was like, it would be fun to do 50 days of fun leading up to my 50th birthday. And I thought, that would be cute. It'll be cute. It'll be fun. It'll be frivolous. Whatever, I'll do that. So I started to do this 50 days of fun, and I would share it every day on Facebook just for some accountability. By day 46, I went, wow, I'm falling so deeply in love with my life right now. I don't want to stop at 50. I'm going to do 365 days. I'll do the whole year. And I put it out on Facebook. I said, does anyone want to join me? I'd love to have other people doing it too. And we'll do monthly themes. So outrageous October, naughty or nice November, jubilant January, mischievous May, whatever. We'll go and do it. So a bunch of people said, I'm in. I want to do that too. So we started to do that. And 365 days hit. My fun-iversary was August 13th. And I said, I think I'll go to 500. And now I'm on day 533. I'm still going because it's just completely changed my life. And as I started to reach for fun every day, and Moneeka joined she raised her hand and was one of the people also doing the daily fun. It was such a powerful practice. It was a Blissiplin that I said, I want to do a movement. Meanwhile, Moneeka had her own movement
already going.
Yeah.
So years ago, it's been like 9 years. It was before the Hillary election. And we know how that worked out.
Yeah.
And I actually released a book called Choose Bliss in that November. So right after that election.
Wow.
And
when we really needed bliss.
We so needed it. All of us. Everybody on every side was like, what just happened here? And so I ended up traveling the world talking about the book. I was on a ton of TV, and it started a level of momentum I was thrilled and honored at and was completely unexpected. But one of the things that I realized was that, oh, this needs to be a movement. We need this. All of us need this. And so that movement began. I started talking more, teaching, all of those things. One thing that was really interesting is as I would be out talking, people would ask me questions, which was wonderful. And one of the questions that came up most for me was, how can you be blissful when you're broke? And I realized, so first of all, bliss is an inside job. I know that sounds trite, but it is. And we're going to talk more about that today. But it is harder if you've got things that kind of restrict. Pain restricts it. Physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain, financial pain does make it harder. And I found that I had already kind of taken care of the financial piece through my real estate business. That was I called it my multi-million-dollar side hustle. And bliss was my passion, right? Helping people feel that joy in life. So I ended up marrying them together, and I created the Blissful Investor, which took me on my path to meeting Monique. But the movement had started, that passion, that movement, that river had started a long time ago. And now it's just really fun to be sharing. Like we've converged into a much larger river, and it's fun to share the movement together.
Yeah. Was there a catalyst? Was there that made you go, I need more bliss, or I need more fun? What was the moment when you're like, I got to do something about this? Or have you always had fun? Have you always been blissful?
You go first.
Okay. So I had, let me back up. So back in 2004, I was working as a lawyer. I was working very hard. I hated my life. I was pretty miserable. And I got tapped into this woman called Regina Thomashower, Mama Gina. She's a School of Womanly Arts. And it was all about teaching women to use pleasure, to have their way with the world. So it was about pleasure. And that was a big transformative thing for me, and I started to really incorporate that. And even in my real estate investor goddess business, and this is another reason why we connected, because I wasn't just teaching women how to invest in real estate. It was, how do you do it from the feminine? How do you do it with pleasure? So I was already about pleasure and having that every day. What I discovered when I focused on fun is that fun is really activating. It's enlivening. It's part of pleasure. So pleasure, fun, you can have pleasure, like fun, but pleasure can also be lighting a candle and savoring it and having a bubble bath, which is great. But there's something about fun that really brought me alive. Fun is, there's a researcher, Catherine Price, who defines true fun as an intersection of playfulness, connection, and flow. And when you're in that fun, you come alive in a way that's really different and really unique. And and when you do it every day, it's a Blissipline. You're practicing happiness, you're practicing joy, you're practicing play, you're coming alive. So for me, I've been on this journey of pleasure, and then fun is just rocket ship.
I love that. You've spearheaded that. Go ahead, Moneeka. What about you? When was your moment?
So I grew up in a very white America, where I was taught very early on that nobody was going to like me, and that I was too different and I was wrong. And, got, I don't know.
Way to prove them wrong, by the way.
I know, thank you, right? So I kind of learned this really young, and my journey was always, how was I going to find happiness? But I felt very, very alone in that. There wasn't really a turning point other than as I transitioned into this as an adult, having more power, choosing that this was going to be my path and sticking with it no matter what happened to me, no matter what happened out there. I choose my own joy. I choose me. And it just became stronger and stronger and stronger as I got older. There were lots of things, I've had like many miscarriages that really tested it. There were some different things that happened along life that tested me, but also showed me that this was, in fact, my highest priority, is that my joy, my contentment, my what I now call bliss, was the single most important thing. And without it, nothing else mattered.
Entrepreneurs, listen up. Are you stuck trying to DIY your website and marketing only to end up frustrated and spinning your wheels? Stacy Beeman of Bee Woman Marketing gets it. She helps passionate business owners like you ditch the overwhelm and go back to your zone of genius. From strategic websites and automated marketing systems to branding, logo design, messaging, and social media strategy, she handles it all. Stacy has supported coaches, consultants, nonprofits, authors, educators, and your girl, Carrie Murray. So, stop Googling how to embed a form or set up an email funnel and start growing your business. Visit bewomanmarketing.com and mention Carrie On, and you get 10% off of a strategy session with Stacy.
For women who want more than just a getaway, Two Peacocks Travel offers transformative journeys that blend adventure, connection, and empowerment. Imagine wandering the colorful streets of Morocco with new friends, sharing stories over a meal in Peru, or conquering a new challenge with the encouragement of a supportive travel group. These experiences aren't just about places. They're about people, growth, and creating traditions that extend beyond the trip. It's time to travel with purpose and find your travel bestie and make an unforgettable memories. Join the movement at twopeacockstravel.com.
Yeah, and when you guys were first launching this, or you decided to choose fun and you decided to choose bliss, and you would tell people, did people think y'all were crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Yes and no.
Were you met with a lot of like, huh?
Yeah.
Or was it like, how can I get on board with this?
More of that, at least from what I've
Not
found.
from me, but yeah.
What I have found is there's a hunger for it. People are so fun deprived. They're so fun deprived. As you were saying, there's this hustle culture, with this puritanical work ethic, where and it's like no pain, no gain. God, man up, muscle through, right? And you can have fun on happy hour, or you can have fun on vacation, but oftentimes what people do for fun is numbing, right? So it's just doom scrolling on social media, or they're binging on Netflix, and then they're feeling dead inside. So people
overeating,
they're overeating,
drinking,
yeah, spending all their money shopping, and just numbing, as opposed to coming alive. So I've been having a lot of conversations with women and men that are just hungry for fun, aliveness, connection, play, and they want to know how do we do this?
How do we lose that? Like, because I just remember being a kid, just hearing you talk, it would be like, okay, I'm gonna go outside and play.
Yeah.
It was like, it was odd when you weren't having fun. Like everything was fun. But like, I wonder when we like stop that. Is it maybe as a teenage girls growing up?
Before
maybe?
that, I mean, you're taught. You go to school, right? This is a time to be serious. You got to focus. You got to do your homework. You got to, right? It's not
get good grades and do it. Yeah.
You get a little bit of recess where you can play. You get a little bit of time after school, but now also we're so scheduled, right? The kids barely have time to play anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so we're taught out of that. It's not prioritized. It's not something that most of us are told. You can get a little bit of it later.
Yeah.
After all this stuff is done. And there's a lot of, you'll be happy, you'll be joyful when you have the job, when you have the money, when you have the car, when you have the stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what people think will make you happy and successful. But it doesn't come that way.
Yeah.
It's actually the practice of, I call them the Blissiplines, right? It's the practice of fun that makes you feel happy, right? It's a practice of things that make you come alive. It's a practice of bliss. It's doing it, every day
with
consistently.
intention.
Yeah.
And was
and
that hard when
presence.
you first started?
Actually,
your...
I'd like to interject something
yes,
there,
please,
if you don't mind.
please. Yeah.
So when I was going through a really hard time in my own life, a coach reminded me that we are born as blissful beings. When we come into the world, we're a little bundle of joy and excitement and awe and wanting to live and wanting to be alive and wanting to learn and wanting to walk and talk, and there's no fear, right?
So true.
And then as we grow up, we learn. You have to not be so loud and don't laugh so much, and you need to be serious and sit tight. And in our generation, girls are to be seen, not heard, those sorts of things, right? And he reminded me that bliss is, in fact, the way we are born, and it is our birthright, which, if we really take that in and really get that that's how we're born. That is our birthright. Like, I'm not making this up. This is how we were born. Then you realize that all of those pieces, like pleasure, play, prioritizing yourself, those sorts of things are what we were born to do. And we lose it through the human construct of socialization, right?
And because they're, if you're a classroom teacher with 20 little blissful little beings, but you need
It's
them to
really
line up
hard.
and wash
No,
their hands.
it's true.
No,
There's
it's
absolutely
very
good
hard.
reasons
Yeah.
for it, but we have a right to go back to that. And
Absolutely.
I think when I started this journey 9 years ago, this wasn't a thing. There were not the happiness books. Joseph Campbell talked about bliss in one portion of his book. There wasn't a lot of this out there. So I feel like I came in a little bit too early. So I think that's why people were like, what are you talking about? Like, people would call me a hedonist, like,
Really?
we don't, Moneeka, you're really naive. There was all these impressions of a person that's just trying to prioritize joy, what that really means in society. And so it's so awesome over the last many years, the last decade, how this has become something people are so much more aware of. Like, they're seeking it out, they're searching for it, they're wanting the fun, but that it's a new, awesome thing that's starting to happen.
Yeah, well, that means you built something in maybe not with intention, but in anticipation for the fact that hustle culture is not sustainable.
That's exactly right.
And when we hit like the 2007 big, market tank and everything, it was like, oh, we got to make up this money we lost. We got to do this and do this. And here we are almost 20 years later, and people are done. They are crashed. They're exhausted. They're numbing themselves. They're medicating themselves. And because it's just not sustainable. So you already actually had your finger on something.
I had it, yeah. I was a little early. It made it a little harder. And yes,
Sure.
people thought I was crazy,
Yeah.
for sure. But you know what? Crazy is fun.
Truly.
And
Yeah.
and I think that really one of the things that I'm so attracted to Monique about, and I know that I carry this also, is we model what that can look like, right? So maybe people thought I was crazy, but they really wanted to be that. They wanted to have that. And so much of the movement is about modeling what's possible for us.
Yeah. And you're, just like I said, you guys are giving them permission.
Right.
And we also, in the culture that we're raised in, we feel like we can't have the fun, we can't have the joy or anything until like, oh, I've checked, I did all my work, did all my chores, and now I can do it and everything. So it's like changing that mindset of like, no, you can whistle while you work.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can have joy in your everyday career and everything. And when you were met with that opposition and everything, what was your, like, what would you say back to them? And just be like, well, I choose bliss.
I choose bliss. I didn't ever actually say that, because then they would like roll their eyes at me. But people would say, you're such a Pollyanna. Do you want to be a Pollyanna? Well, she was actually pretty happy, kind of. Like, what's the alternative to that? I don't want the alternative to that, right? I do, and I don't think I'm a Pollyanna. But what I do think is that each of us live our life through a set of filters. They talk about rose-colored glasses and a Pollyanna filter, right? Or a disposition, whatever. Yes, I do want that filter, because you know what? Life just feels a lot better. And you know what? I'm a lot more successful because I am viewing my life through that filter than I might be if I was like depressed and not motivated and not energized and not enjoying my life. I used to be a coach for a lot of these big companies that I'm not allowed to say on the air, for executives. And one of the things that I found with them consistently over and over and over again, it's not that they had lost their strategic ability. It wasn't anything other than they weren't having fun anymore. They weren't happy. They weren't having fun. They were losing their motivation and that energy that they had that created what they were creating. So I became a Bliss mentor to these executives, really high up in their companies, and suddenly their lives turned around. The relationships with their wives, with their kids, with their employees, with their companies, everything changed once they realized, oh, this is important. The fact that I am happy is actually really important.
Would you say, Monique, that we are in the middle of a crisis with everything that's going on in the world and that we actually need you two now more than ever?
I think so.
Yeah.
So people are, there's like I said, there's a fun deficit, there's depression, there's rage, there's addiction, there's a hunger for that. And it's interesting because I have a slightly different journey because I was doing pleasure. You're one of my goddesses.
Yeah.
So,
really quick, tell us a little bit more about that pleasure piece.
Right, because
share with the class.
Because I talked about pleasure in all of its forms. It was probably the only real estate training where we talked about orgasm.
It was. We talked about, how to get a loan, but also like how to get an orgasm.
How to manifest orgasms.
Yeah.
So, it was out there, and I found, and I started in 2016, 10 years ago, there was a hunger then as well, but not everyone's going to resonate with it, right? Not everyone, some people were like, no, and they ran the other way, and they're going to think it's hedonistic, and they're going to think it's silly, and it's frivolous, and no, and they're just not our people.
Ready. Yeah.
They're not our people. And everyone is allowed to have their path, and your path can be as miserable as you want. You can choose misery, you can choose hustle, you can choose, to suffer. That's everyone has that power and that choice. But for those who want to choose happiness and joy and bliss and fun, and I really believe that when you do choose fun as a path, everything becomes easier. If you make you're trying to, I just heard James Clear wrote Atomic Habits. He was being interviewed on a podcast about his book, which is one of the #1 best-selling books ever. And he was asked, is there anything you would change about that book? And he said, I wouldn't change anything, but I would add something. He said, when you're trying to do a habit, and habits are really how any change is made. It's like what you do regularly. He said, if I would just add, how can you make it fun? How can you make that fun? You want to exercise more? How can you find a way to move that's fun?
Yeah.
If you want to eat better, how can you make that process fun?
Right.
If you want to, what
Get
can
up
you do
earlier.
Yeah,
you
like
go
what
to
would
yoga
make
more.
that fun,
Yeah.
right? And when you add fun, those things get done. And so much of life, if you have a job that's fun, or you're going to show up to it, you're going to do a better job. If your relationships are fun, you're going to, right? If you're fun in the relationships, those are going to be better relationships. So with everything, if you can add some fun, you're going to have a life that's blissful.
Yeah.
And so, but people don't have to choose that. It's their choice.
Well, it's their fundamental problem.
Exactly.
We see what you did there.
See that? I love this. Now, there are going to be people who are just like, ugh, no, this isn't going to work. I have got too many kids. I've got to do this. There's going to be naysayers, and I'm sure you've encountered all of them.
Yeah.
What do you say to the woman who's watching this that's just like, I'm not worthy of fun. I'm not there yet. I'm not, I'm divorced, or I can't pay the bills, and I don't deserve fun. Because you talk about bliss being a birthright, and you're absolutely right. But is fun?
Well, fun is a Blissiplin. I mean, in my original book, it's got its own chapter, right? It's a Blissiplin, and it's the easiest Blissipline because you don't have to think too hard about it. Fun is a very natural act that we do, and it can come in small little doses and it can come in huge doses, and there's lots of different ways that you can do it. So it's the most accessible Blissipline. It's the most fun Blissipline. It's kind of like candy. You know, you want it. It's not just candy. It's much more nourishing than that. But just as a metaphorically, it's like candy. Like you can take a little taste, right? And you want it, and you can go after it. So absolutely, I think it is our birthright, and I understand. I've been there at times where I just couldn't have fun and I lost it. But it's so much easier to get back. And worthy or not, go play. Like seriously, we all as children played. You don't have to be worthy to play. That's how we are built, right? As human beings, that's what we do. That's what animals do, you know? That's what we do. Yeah. We play. So fun, worthy or not worthy, it's such an interesting way to look at things. And I don't know if I should say it this way, but you were born to play and have fun. And that's how you're built. So just enjoy that. Don't overthink it, you know?
Yeah, I love that.
It's just a choice to reach for it. And it can be hard to do that in a culture that trains you away from it.
Yeah.
Right? That makes you feel guilty or ashamed for reaching for that when before everyone else, especially as women, before the kids and the boss and the spouse and the, before everybody else's needs are taken care of, to reach for fun can feel like a radical act, can feel not okay. And the invitation who I hope everyone who's listening, you can, whatever you're having to do, if you can add fun to it, even if you have to wash the dishes, put on your favorite music, get the kids to come, make a game of it, right? Everybody is uplifted by that. Doesn't have to cost money, doesn't have to take a lot of time. It's very easy to reach for. It's simple, but it cannot be, sometimes it's not easy, right? Because we're conditioned against it. And so I have so much empathy for those who feel like it's so far away or it's so hard. But in the tiniest little way, if you can just reach for that, a little bit of pleasure, a little bit of play, it can change everything. And when you make it a Blissiplane, a regular practice, you'll find your life transformed and you'll fall in love again with yourself and your life.
Yeah. You've mentioned Blissiplines quite a bit. Do we have a list? Is there an ongoing tally?
Well, Choose Bliss is a whole book of Blissiplines. There's 12 in there. So that's a starting place. But there's so many different kinds of Blissiplines. The single most important thing to remember about Blissiplines is that they are our cute word of creating a habit. And anything that we want in life, that we want sustainable, needs to be turned into a habit. So there are many Blissiplines that we can choose. Fun is the funnest. But choose one or two to integrate, pepper into your life, and then be really consistent. And do them over and over again until they're a habit, until they're natural. So you're not even thinking about it, but you're still reaping the benefits of them. And I think that's what I love so much about fun is once you take a little taste, you want more, you want more. It's a very natural way to create that Blissiplane that's now a habit that now becomes foundational to your life and to your bliss, right?
Yeah. And another point, it's very individual.
Yes.
So what I consider fun is not necessarily what Moneeka does or you or anyone else.
Yeah, I don't find hiking fun. And when people are
Nor
let's
do
go
I,
hiking,
yeah.
it's so fun. I'm like,
I love a
but
hike.
you like
I love a hike, right?
Yeah.
So that's for me, getting out regularly to hike is part of my Blissiplane, right? So that's something I know, getting out in nature, moving my body, that makes me feel good. So it's really looking at what makes me feel good and how do I do it every day. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and I have these Blissiplines. I go through some meditation and it's affirmations, visualization, and maybe it's TMI. I have a morning lovemaking practice with my husband, and so every day there's something that, an exercise and movement. So I'm doing these things because I know that when I do them regularly, I feel good. and I feel blissful, and reaching for fun every day is a
Completely changed your perspective.
completely
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
up leveled
Wow.
exponentially.
So I love that. And now that you two have joined forces for this movement, tell me about what's next for global, domination. Of but I know
Which we will have, I'm just saying.
But we're going to start.
We're not dominating. It's a playground that we're inviting people into.
But you're starting by building a community around this movement. Tell me
Yes.
more about that and your goals for that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so we have a Fun and Bliss collective. So it's a school community where we come and we practice this. We have we're together. It's a community of women that are practicing fun, practicing Blissiplines, coming up with ideas, meeting virtually and then hopefully in person, retreats. It's just this place for incredible women who want to have fun, to connect with other women who want to have fun, where you're empowered in this practice, and you're playful, and you get to be silly, and you get to be fully expressed, however fun is and bliss is for you.
And they get the support for I don't feel worthy, or someone made fun of me,
The imposter,
or my
yeah.
kids called me selfish because I went and did this thing, or whatever it is that happens in life as we're trying to prioritize our Blissiplines and our joy. Life still happens, right? And so allowing us to support each other and have those conversations and make it all okay,
Yeah.
Because sometimes we need that support even in having fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And sometimes you don't want to always be the one in charge of making the fun.
That's
Yes.
right.
You just want to be a participant.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. What was the fun thing you did today? Please say being on the show.
Hello, obviously, being here. Got my hair and makeup done.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's so fun. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah. And just having, getting to laugh together. And so this is so fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Okay, so before we wrap up, anybody who's watching this who's like, oh, I need more fun,
Yes.
what would you recommend them to do immediately after listening to this amazing podcast and commenting and following you all on Instagram? Go.
No, you're good.
Okay. So think of one thing that you can do in 1 minute that would be really fun for you. So for me, I love to dance.
Mm-hmm.
So just putting on that song, that song that you put on that you can't help but move to, put that on, shake your butt, have fun. If you can, invite other people to join you. That's an easy one.
1 minute of fun. 1 minute of fun.
I like to do a wiggle hug. So find somebody you love or that you're close to and just hold on tight and do a little wiggle. And that's it. Like it takes 2 seconds. It gives you your oxytocin. It gives you a connect. It feels really yummy. And it's really silly looking and feeling.
Yeah. And it's fun.
It is fun. It's really
a lot
fun.
of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, tell the people where we can find you all and have more fun and joy and learn more about the Blissiplines. Tell us all the places, all the spaces.
Go to funandbliss.com, and there you will find our show and the membership site, our community, and on all of the links.
Gotcha. Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for bringing some fun to this podcast. We've had heavier topics, but this is a nice breath of something light and airy, and everyone deserves fun. The bottom line is that, according to these two, it's a birthright. So, thank you so much for coming and being my guest today. I can't wait to listen to your show and learn more about these Blissiplines. I'm loving this word. I couldn't say postpone, but Blissiplines I can somehow manage to say. Please, everyone who's watching this, comment, like, and subscribe. Put a big star emoji in the comments and tell us how you're having fun today. Because of all things, keep your head above the chaos, have a little fun, and carry on.